All right, so y'all about to get all my business today. But I've been wanting to make a video like this for some time, especially being a business owner and especially remembering who I was and the questions that I had 2-3 years ago before I started this journey full time. So one of the main things I remember seeing out there was tons of videos like these, but they were only talking about how much money the business was actually making, not how much money the owner was actually taking home. So today I want to be super transparent about how much money actually comes home in my pocket. And my reason for doing this isn't to like flex or anything. It's to really just show the truth and share what it feels like financially to be the owner of an agency, of a service-based company. There's a lot of rhetoric out there around profit margins and how profitable a service-based company can be, but I don't think a lot of people are talking about the truth of it and how much actually comes home in your pocket. And if you're trying to understand if a service-based organization is for you, or specifically even owning an agency like I do is for you, I want to just share some of the numbers so you can make decisions that actually help your financial life. Now, what I'm not going to talk about is one of the most important things in service is actually the skills that you need to build a successful service-based business. In this video, we're just going to talk about the money. But please understand, the money don't come without the skills. And frankly, a lot of the skills that have allowed me to build an organization at the size that we've been able to build and scale as fast as we've been able to do, a lot of those skills actually came from my corporate jobs. So I'm very privileged to have had some pretty good corporate experiences that allowed me skills like being able to communicate, being able to make decks, being able to present to clients, being able to really solve business problems. Like all those skills came from my corporate job. A lot of those skills also came from my university training. So today, let's talk about the money. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Casey Brown and I am the founder of 2 agencies now. So Digital Kairos was the first agency that we launched in 2021. And just recently, actually like a few months ago, we actually launched our second agency, which is a more content focused agency. And I'll be doing a little bit behind the scenes of how we're building that agency since I didn't really do it with Digital Kairos. But combined right now, those 2 agencies or 2 kind of like revenue centers bring in anywhere from $80,000 to $130,000 a month. So we can just even it out and say $100,000 a month. Again, this is where most people would stop sharing the money. But what I understand as a business owner is that is just the bottom line. That's just your revenue. As a service-based business, one of your biggest expenses is labor. And let me just tell you, labor is not cheap in this economy. So before I go into how much money actually fits into my pockets, I also want to tell you guys why I decided on an agency or a service-based business over a product-based business. So my background, like I told you guys, I was in corporate, but I also had a product-based business. I have a lot of this stuff on my Instagram, and I've actually had a few product-based businesses. My first one being when I was 16, I was selling socks. We scaled that to a couple $100,000 in a few months. And one of my bigger product-based businesses was a candle business. So more of like a lifestyle business, but the product was like this candle diffuser business. And we actually scaled that to around $50K a month in around 7 weeks. And really I started building product-based businesses because I was running ads for some clients, but I never really saw myself as a service-based business owner. Naturally, I'm very introverted and I was just like, let me just do my own thing. With a product thing, I can, think about my own ideas, come up with the own campaigns, only have to deal with myself and, whoever else I was staffing, but I didn't have to deal with a lot of people. But what I realized pretty quickly, even just through those 2 different businesses, was I hated customer service. I hated logistics. Like I hated all that stuff. I really just like the marketing and sales behind the business. I also, at the end of the day, do love helping people. Now, I'm naturally a little bit more introverted, but I love talking to people. Like I do love helping people. I also love teams and being able to collaborate. And so when I started to try to pivot out of like my product-based businesses, I was like, let's just start an agency, see what it does. And I had so many people asking for us to run their ads and do their marketing because they knew about my background. So long story short for me, again, a lot of the skills that I have fit very, very well into the service base, into the agency space. And I just hated a lot of the logistics behind a product-based business. All that to say, in short, I did not choose agency life or service-based life because of the money. I chose it because of the skills that I had and the passions that I had as well. And if you are somebody that's watching this video and you're like, hey, should I start an agency to make some money? I'll just tell you right now, no. But let's break it down. In the beginning of this journey, specifically with the agency, I read this book called Profit First, and I still use a lot of those Profit First financial principles to outline our budgets, to outline our operating expenses, to set goals for like our labor and marketing and all those things. You know, the profit margins you should be aiming for and how you should be allocating your money to yourself and to the business. But something I learned in there is for a business around our size, the owner should be taking home around 10 to 20% of the monthly revenues as a labor. But something I learned in that book is that a company around our size, the owner should be taking home around 10 to 20% of the monthly revenue. So like that monthly recurring revenue, the owner should be taking around 10 to 20% in wages, in labor, right? Now, I'll be honest with you, I do not take that percent home. After taxes and everything else, I probably take home around $5,000 a month. Now, I'll get into a little bit around why I only take home around $60,000 to $70,000 a year here in a second. But the last thing that I'll say about Profit First is that they actually outline different bonus structures the owner or owners should also take quarterly. Now, a lot of those bonuses we are pushing back into the business to fuel different business growth. And I'll tell you why we are doing that also here in a second. So again, after taxes and everything else on paper right now, I probably take home anywhere between $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Again, this is actually a huge pay cut from my corporate job where I was taking home anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 a year. But the reason that I've decided to take the salary that I am taking is because I am still in my 20s. And I have this mindset that at least in my 20s, before the age of 30, a lot of my business moves and money moves are going to include bigger risks. Bigger risks that I know I won't be able to take in my 30s, right? In my 30s, I plan on getting married, having kids, doing that whole shebang. So my 20s, I dedicated early on, probably around the age of 22, that I was going to take as many risks as possible. And so a big risk that I'm actually taking is paying myself a lower salary so that we can fuel a lot more capital, money, even debt back into the business. I probably will not raise my salary for the next 1.5 to 2 years because what me and my business partners are planning to do is actually starting and scaling a brand. So like I said, we own an agency. We get a lot of insights into what the market likes, how to structure different campaigns. We're really good at marketing and sales. I now have folks on my team and in my network that are really good at logistics and doing all the stuff that I frankly hated as a product brand owner. And so what we're starting to do now as we become more cash flow positive is starting to think about deploying extra capital into building up a brand that we want to start. Once I get closer to the age of 30, personal wealth will become a lot more important to me and will probably impact the money decisions that I make. Personal wealth meaning increasing the amount of capital that is actually coming into my pockets so that I can increase the amount of capital that I can deploy to things like investments, angel investing in other companies, real estate, things like that. But until then, I am very content with the salary that I take home and it fits my lifestyle currently. Again, as you can hear, a lot of the reasons why I take home the amount that I take home is personal decisions, right? It's based on the things that we want to do in the business. It's based on the things and brands that we hope to build. Also, I didn't get too much into this, but labor costs a lot, right? And so one of the biggest expenses for our agency is actually our team. And one of the things that I know and started to know very early on is like, if I wanted to make the impact in this world, in this space that I knew we had the potential to make, I needed a great team. And so our team costs a lot. So profit margins right now in our business range around 20 to 30%. And that's really because we're starting to scale. We're starting to bring on new team members. We're getting more expensive software and equipment and doing some more things. And so during that season of scale, you can start seeing profits start dwindling. One of our goal places to be profit-wise is around 40 to 50%. But during this season right now, we're a little bit lower than that. So just some things to be aware of, especially if you're thinking about starting an agency or a service-based operation, or if you're currently scaling one, right? I wanted to be honest always about the numbers, about our business structure, about the pros and cons to this business, and about where we're headed, right? I think that a lot of folks can outline how sexy this business model is or how sexy service-based business can be. And in some instances, maybe people do have a lot more sexier businesses than I do. But I will say for myself, I am prioritizing our team. I am prioritizing putting the capital that we have back into the business and to build out other businesses that we want to build out. Again, I'm still in my 20s and I've made this commitment to myself to be a lot more risky at this point, but I can see over the next probably like 3 to 5 years, my mindset will change a bit and I will be really focused on increasing my income so that I can increase my personal wealth and net worth. If you guys like videos like this or want me to get deeper on numbers, I am a super open book. And so I am going to keep making them. If you like it, give me a thumbs up, a subscribe, leave a comment if you have other questions. And with that, I'll see you in the next video.